Welcome to Unit 2, Lesson 14, Practice Problems. What do you know about polynomials? Okay, so starting with number 1. Read the sentence and then let's talk about where to put what. Okay, so as one relative minimum, let's do this in a different color, you can't see it. One relative minimum, one relative maximum has 3 zeros, which means it's third degree. The number of zeros is equal to the degree. So 1, 2, 3 zeros. It has a known factor of x minus 4. To go from a factor to an intercept, you change the sign. So I picked the other two factors just to make the graph. You can pick anything you want. This is freedom of choice on these problems. Okay, let's look at number 2. May graph a polynomial function. It has 3 factors. What is her mistake? So what you were supposed to do, and this is a cool down from earlier in the lesson, you have to switch the sign. To go from a factor to an intercept, you had to switch the signs. So it should be at -6, -2, and +1. And then redraw the graph. So she forgot to switch the signs. Her graph was shifted left and right the wrong way. Okay, looking at number 3. Here's a graph of the polynomial with degree 4. All the statements are true. The leading coefficient is positive. That's true because it ends high, so that tells us the leading coefficient is positive. The constant term is negative, is not true. It has 2 relative maximums. That's not true. It has 4 linear factors. That is true. 4 linear factors. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the factors is x minus 1. X plus 1, no, that's not true. One of the zeros is at x equals 2. That is true. There is a relative minimum between x equals 1 and x equals 3. No, it's a little bit further to the right than 3. It's in between 4 and 5. So no, that is not true. Okay, so let's take a look at this. State degree and end behavior of this one. So the end behavior is decided by the leading term. The leading term has the highest exponent. 2x cubed, even though it's first, is not the leading term. The leading term has the highest exponent. X to the 5th is the leading term. -3x to the 5th is the leading term. So now, let's go ahead and sketch it. Draw your x and y axis. Negative x odd means the graph starts high. We don't care how many times it comes to the axis. We're not trying to do all of that. We just want the end behavior. So it's going to come down. It's going to go back up. It's going to come back down. And it's going to end low. So end behavior. So now let's talk about the end behavior. As x goes positive infinity, f of x, f goes to negative infinity. As x goes negative infinity, f goes up. F goes to positive infinity. Odd polynomials will end in different places. Even ones will end in the same place. Okay, let's look at this one. Is this the graph of G or H? So we're going to put G in green and H in purple. Okay, so how do we know which one is which? The multiplicity for G is at 1. So if we were to draw G, it has multiplicity at 1, at +1. So this is the graph of G of x. So I don't need to draw the graph. This is the graph of G of x. This is the graph that matches G of x. Our multiplicity is at +1. So x equals 1, and x equals -2. It goes through -2, no multiplicity at +1. Now, if you're really curious about what h does, it's the same intercepts, but the multiplicity is at -2. So it would look something like this, come back down, and then go back up. All right, so be careful on that one. That's all for this problem. Okay, so now this goes back to unit lesson 12. P of 3 equals 0. So that means that when x is 3, y equals 0. That lets us know that the x is an intercept. So our factor, we had to change the sign. This is a factor. Now, where did Quran go wrong? X minus 3 is the factor. This 3 is supposed to be negative. So that's where Quran went wrong. This is supposed to be negative. X squared to x cubed. X squared times -3x squared. When you do that, you get 1. You're supposed to add on a diagonal. You get x cubed, add on a diagonal, plus x squared. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times -3 is -12x. When we add on a diagonal, that gives us -17x. Then -5 times x is -5x. -5 times -3 is +15. So our Quran forgot the sign. So signs are very important. There's a big difference between 3 and -3. Please keep that in mind. Okay, now, the polynomial is a known factor, has a known factor of x plus 2. If a polynomial has a factor, that tells us the answer should come out to 0. So now we have the polynomial long divide. We had the polynomial long divide. So x squared, we multiply to match the first term. Doesn't matter about the next term. Multiply, change both signs. Step 2, change both signs. Step 3, add or subtract. Step 4, bring down the next one. After you've eliminated the first term, once they cancel out, you start the process all over again. Multiply to match the first term. Change both signs. The positive becomes negative. The first term cancels out. Good. Bring down the next term. Match the first term. Multiply to match the first term. -7 times x is -7x. -14. Change both signs. Change both signs. Done. 0. Now we have our factors. X plus 2. X squared plus 6x minus 7. The factors of 7. Let's do this over here. The factors are 7 are 1 and 7. These are the only numbers, so this is easy. So now all three factors become x plus 2, x 1, x 7. Now all you got to do is figure out the signs. The sign in front of the third term tells you one of them is positive, one of them is negative. The sign in front of the second term is the sign of the larger number. 7 is positive, 1 is negative. Those are your three factors. -1 plus 7 makes positive 6. -1 times 7 makes -7. And that is lesson 14.